Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Khosi and I'm very excited to be back on YouTube. It's a new year, hopefully a new me, a new consistent me. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, I'm very excited to be back, and I'm especially excited about this video because it feels very useful. I thought, why not start off by adding some value and giving some tips on how to do your Schengen visa, because I know that a lot of people are very excited about their traveling plans. People are planning to travel to Europe, so this feels quite relevant. Okay, so the first thing, and I feel like I need to say this, is that I just need to find my passport. I am very much still a South African citizen with a South African passport. So regardless of the fact that I'm based in London at the moment, this does not give me entrance into Europe, unfortunately. And so I still have to apply for a Schengen visa just like anybody else. So before you disregard this video and think, she's in London, nope, it's the same. I still have to do my Schengen just like everybody else. Okay, so about this whole Schengen thing as well, I had to do a bit of reading up on this, but the reason why it's called the Schengen is because, bit of a fun fact, a while ago, I don't know, like in the 1980s or something, a bunch of countries, bless them, decided to get together and decided that we don't need multiple visas to visit these multiple countries. We need one visa to enter Europe and travel around these 26 countries, okay? I need to actually find the list of countries. Okay, so the Schengen visa allows you access into Austria, Belgium, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Italy, Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland. So, as you can imagine, a Schengen visa is a really good visa to have, because once you have it, you basically have access into all these countries. I mean, right? So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much what the Schengen visa gives you access to and what it does and why it's so great. So let's get into it. First things first, before we get into the process of actually starting your visa, there's a few important things on your passport. Okay, first of all, you need a passport. Goes without saying, right? But your passport needs to be in valid condition, okay? And you need to have 2 blank pages, okay? I'm trying to find 2 blank pages on my passport. You need to have 2 blank pages on your passport. It needs to be valid, and it can't be expiring in less than 90 days after your intended travel. So you need to make sure those things are in order before you actually start your Schengen process. Okay. So let's get into the 5 steps on how to do your Schengen visa. Okay, disclaimer, this is my story. I've done my Schengen visa twice now, so I kind of gathered some things. I kind of figured I know enough to put a video together. But please always fact check everyone's videos. Whatever you're watching on the internet, make sure you gather your facts first before you go by. Of course, this video said I must do this. Just make sure that you've also kind of cross-referenced. Okay, anyway, first things first, plan your trip. It sounds obvious, but the place you go and the timing you go matters. And obviously I say the place you go because you have to apply with the consulate where you want to go. So if you're going to Spain, you'll apply with the Spanish consulate. If you're going to Portugal, you'll apply with the Portuguese consulate. But if you're going to multiple places, let's say you're going to, I don't know, the Netherlands for 3 days, or France for another 3 days, you want to apply with the consulate where you are intending on staying the longest. So if in your itinerary you plan to be in Spain for 4 days and Portugal for 3, you're obviously going to apply with Spain. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, the reason why you have to plan accordingly is because if you intend to spend the same amount of days in different countries, I've heard people say that you need to apply with the consulate with which you'll enter that country first. So I don't know if they're really strict on that, because on my first Schengen visa, I applied with France, but I used that to enter into the Netherlands. And then on my second Schengen visa, I applied with Spain, and I used that to enter into Portugal and then to enter into Spain. So I don't know how true that part about you need to enter into that country first is. I've just proved that. All I know is the country where you intend to spend the longest amount of time is the consulate that you need to apply with. Okay, That's the first thing. And the second reason why you need to plan your trip is that you need to make sure that your timings are in order. So if your trip is 2 weeks from now, unfortunately, you won't get your Schengen visa approved because there's a rule. And by the way, my experience lies mainly with the French consulate and the Spanish consulate. And in the Spanish consulate website, the rule is that you need to give them at least 15 calendar days before to actually process your application. So the timing is very, very important. So you can't apply for a Schengen visa if your trip is like 2 weeks away. But at the same time, you can't plan a trip that's more than 180 days away from now because they'll tell you that it's too far. So my piece of advice would be, at minimum, your trip needs to at least be a month away from now. That way you know you need to book an appointment. You're going to give them 15 calendar days to process this, and you know you kind of have time. I would say that's the minimum. I don't know. I just think just be safe. Be safe. Yeah, that's the first thing. Plan your trip. Make sure that you're okay with the timing. It's not less than 15 calendar days, but it's also not more than 180 days. My best advice, a month at minimum. Because another thing you will run the risk of doing is that your appointment might not necessarily be tomorrow, or your appointment could be a week from now. And if your trip is 2 weeks from now, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Okay, step 2 is to make your booking. So now that you've planned your trip, you know where you're going to Spain with the girlies, you're gonna have a good time in Barcelona. Now it's time to plan your hotel stay and your flight and your travel insurance. Okay, so with the hotel bookings, my advice, again, we're still on the back end of a very uncertain COVID-esque environment. So my best guess is to book on bookings.com. I always use bookings.com, and I always tick the box where it says that I can cancel my booking for a full refund, or credit cards accepted, no prepayments needed. Make sure you're ticking that box before you start searching for accommodation, because anything could happen. Again, in the unlikely event that your visa gets cancelled, which it won't if you follow this video with the tips, in the likely event that your visa gets cancelled, you at least know you haven't lost money from your hotels and things like that because you booked cancelable bookings. Okay, so bookings.com for your hotel bookings, and then flights as well. You can't book a flight as well because you never know what could happen, and you have to make sure that everything you book is cancelable. So you don't necessarily have to book a flight. You can get a flight itinerary. Again, a flight itinerary just shows the intention. You've kind of held the flight. You've kind of said, hey, I intend to fly on this date, but you haven't exactly paid the full cost of a flight. I will link the website that I've used for a flight itinerary in the information box below. So you kind of need your hotel booking and at least a flight itinerary before you actually go into the Spanish consulate's website, because it's going to ask you where you plan to stay and what are your flight dates. That's why I'm saying at least have those 2 things before you actually go to the next step, which is going into the website and filling in the form and making your appointment booking. Step 3 is to actually go into the website of the country whose consulate you plan to apply with. So for example, if you're going to Spanish consulate's website, go in, fill in the online application, and then you can make your booking. You can't do the one without the other. So when you fill in your online application, it'll kind of redirect you. Once you're done, it'll redirect you to the appointment booking center. Now, the reason why I said in step 2, fill in, know what your travel dates are and know what your hotel is, your hotel confirmation, and have your flight confirmation, is because the website is going to ask you, when you fill in your online form, they're going to ask you to fill in your travel dates as well as the name of your hotel. So you kind of need to have that in place, because it's a cancelable booking. You've got that. So fill in the online form, fill in those details, and then book your appointment. So now that your appointment is booked, make sure that once your appointment is booked, say for next week, you've still given the consulate 15 calendar days to kind of process your application, and you still have time to, you know, fly. So if your flight is within that 15 calendar days, you have to go back and start the process again, because, you know, so that's why I'm saying at the very least a month. Now that your appointment is booked, you can start gathering the rest of your documents. Now, this is very, very important. I think more than anything, you don't want to get your visa denied because you didn't read the website properly on what documents you need. Okay, so first things first, make sure you have all the necessary documentation on that day, when you start gathering your documents. So if you're employed, make sure that before your appointment, you've asked a couple of days before, you've asked your HR for a no obligation letter, basically a letter saying you're employed, and you intend to come back to the country where you're employed, basically. So the whole thing about visa is you're trying to prove to the country that you're visiting that you're just there for good vibes, you're a tourist, and you do intend to go back to where you're from. Essentially, you're not trying to live off the resources of that country. So you kind of have to prove that you have a legitimate case to go back home. That's why they ask you for the employment letter. That's why they're asking you for the pay slips to prove, you know, the employment. So make sure that the minimum balance of that that's required by that consulate is in your bank account on that day as well. Make sure so your employment letter, your 3 months bank statement, your of course now you've got your itinerary, you've got your insurance, your flight itinerary, you've got your insurance, you've got your hotel booking. Please also check the website just to make sure there's nothing that I've left out. Proof of accommodation. I attached my lease agreement to show, again, you're trying to show that you're coming back to the country where you come from, you know. Proof of financial means, we spoke about that. That's your 3 months bank account statement, and that is it. And then on the day, you also want to arrive with your visa fee, which is 80 euros on the day. So just 80 euros for, you know, the admin fee, I guess, for processing it. And then that's about it, guys. And another thing that I would highly recommend, with my first visa, I wrote a cover letter. With my second, I didn't. So I would highly recommend writing a cover letter. I don't know how much of a chance that'll give you or how much of a duration they'll increase, but I've seen with a friend who wrote a cover letter. I told her to write a cover letter and she got a year's visa. I didn't write a cover letter and I got less than that. So I mean, you know. Right. So if you want, write a cover letter basically stating who you are, what your intentions are, what you plan to do in the country, how long you plan to stay. And if you're looking for multiple entry visa, which you can select on the menu or, you know, on the application form, it will obviously say, do you want a multi-entry visa or not? But you will obviously emphasize that you would like a multi-entry visa because you plan to go, if you plan to go to the country multiple times, you know, state what your plans are. So you might want to go next month, maybe a couple of months from now. I don't know, because if you want to use your Schengen visa in other countries as well, it's helpful to state your case. And if you plan to go on other trips, like I said, a cover letter is a good idea to have, but it's a good idea to have it over and above the basic documents. So don't forget your bare minimum documents that you need for your application, and then obviously an optional cover letter if you want, stating what your intentions are, what your plans are for traveling, you know, in the country, and that you would be very grateful if they grant you multiple entry visa or, you know, whatever, a year visa. It is up to the discretion of the consulate. So unlike the UK visa that says 6 months, 2 years, 10 years, with the Schengen visa, it is up to them, basically. That's why I'm saying if you want to write a cover letter to state your case, what's your story, you can. The best thing would be obviously to state what you'd like, but you know, you don't know what you're gonna get, you know. So yeah, guys, that is the last thing. Of course, the fifth step would be to attend your appointment, be on time or be early, because you never know what you might need. I remember my second appointment, we'd forgotten to print the T's and C's of the travel insurance, so it's like, I don't know, a 2-pager that we had to print, and that was fine. But of course they'll charge you for printing extra things. So, and they didn't ask for photos, passport photos, but you know, some, you don't know which consulate does things differently. But I remember I was asked for passport photos, the one appointment, and then I wasn't in the other. So it's very, very subjective, but the rules are the same. You know, be on time, and then they'll process it, and then it takes a shorter time to process, but like I said, you never know. So that's basically my experience. A few tips and tricks on how I got my Schengen visa done. If you have questions, you know, drop them there, the comment section, you know, and then I'll see how I can help. I'm not an expert. Please don't take my word as the Bible. I'm just sharing how I got it done and how, you know, I did my things. But if your situation is very circumstantial, unfortunately, you know, my knowledge is very limited in that regard. So guys, don't let a little bit of admin get in your way when you're trying to live your best life and travel. So do the admin, do the application, make sure it's correct, do it right the first time, and let's travel the world and live our best lives. All right guys, that is all the best with your applications, and I'll see you in the next video. That is all. Bye.